Hey John here. So I got this 200-gallon oil tank. Had it for a while, debating on what to do with it. I'm going to make a trailer out of it, like a utility trailer to tow behind either like an ATV or a lawnmower or something like that. All right, so this is the axle I'm going to be using. It's no longer street worthy. It wears tires out too much, so it's either twisted or tweaked somehow. But we're gonna make this into the the axle for the utility trailer here. This axle came off a snowmobile trailer, flatbed. All right, so I think the first thing is I'm gonna cut these legs off. Ain't gonna need them, and I'll probably cut one end completely off the oval, and then the other half I'll just do a half thing. So that'll be like a pickup truck. We'll have the front part of a bed. And the piece that we cut out, hopefully I can make some kind of a tailgate with it, a functioning tailgate. Maybe not, I don't know. We'll see about that later. And then once those four things are, 6 things are cut off, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing completely in half. Make sure your oil tank's empty before you go rolling it over. Alright, so top fell in there. So I'm going to flip it over, and this side has a seam, so we're going to use this side as the bed here. Because I'm doing this totally out of scrap metal, I've got to think of a few things. I got some square tubing. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be building the frame out of this square tubing, 1.5 inch square tubing, and I'll probably do side rails as well. I've got way more than enough, it looks like. So I think I'm going to cut these little flanges off. To help keep this thing not so heavy, I decided to put a rail, and a rail. I made a few cuts here, but I want to point out that I split this whole piece down the middle, and this cut here is for later. We're going to fold this up just to hide this piece, but this cut down the middle, as you can see here, is a V. So I'm going to start this over there and just pound it right along. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I was getting at. It's on now. It's a pretty tight fit, but see, I want this. You're able to move this back and forth a little bit. Once we get all 3 built, I'll level everything out, and then make sure that the sides are, take some measurements, get everything perfect, because this might have spread out a little bit when we cut it. Maybe the heat, it's not probably square. So once we get all 3 sides built, we can clamp it or do whatever, tack her in place, and then weld it up perfectly. So I cleaned it up with a wire brush, and we're going to get to the frame now. Alright, so what I've decided is I'm going to do 3 rungs of part of the frame there. So these 2 pieces, one here, one there, one. So we'll get them welded to the bottom, and then flip it over, weld them top, and then we'll get where the runners here have to go for the trailer axle. And the trailer axle is it's over there. We still have to split that trailer axle in terms of I don't know how long or how wide it's going to be, but we're closing in here. Okay, so this axle here, so this mounting bracket here is about 3 inches from the inside of that tire, and that's where I'm going to put my subframe there. So I'm going to put a piece here 3 inches from the edge there, which 3 inches out, and then the tire should sit here on the outside of everything. Alright, so maybe this gives you a better idea. So this is the 2 beefed up ones. That's what the axle is going to sit on, right in the back here. And then I don't know, we'll figure out the front. But so I'm done with the frame in terms of let's put the axle on next, I guess, and then we'll work on the front, figure out what we want to do for a drop down wheel or anything. Like I said, I got some ideas on for this to be a wheelbarrow slash cart tow along with a tongue that can be, you know, just dangling, where it doesn't matter what the height is in terms of, you know, whatever machine you use, you know, it'll be on like an articulating thing. And then lockable for, you know, in case you want it rigid, the tongue, right? I don't know. Like I said, got some ideas, just throwing them out there. Alright, so I put a couple of tongues here. I don't know what I'm going to do yet exactly. I'm just kind of figuring it out. So again, I want a hitch, or you know, a swingable hitch for like the tractor, but that's just a pin. I also want a way to tow it with the side-by-side, which is a trailer coupler, and I also want it to flip up to use like a wheelbarrow, you know, just as a handle. So and I have to have the landing gear for the third wheel if you're going to use it for a wheelbarrow, or if it's heavy, you know, you can have a wheel down. Well, I didn't want to spend any money on this, but I just bought a $20 jack there, and I'm going to use in a caster wheel there for 20 bucks. So I was going to build it all out of scrap metal, but now I'm in 40 bucks, but that's all I'm spending on this. So this will work out a little better. I'm going to put a plate there and a hole and secure it that way, and you know, put that, so this way I'll probably weld a nut on here too, so we could just use a drill to lower and, you know, raise and lower the wheel there. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, instead of using bolts, I mean, I'm going to use bolts, but I'm going to use rib nuts. So I just had to notch this out a little bit, but we're just going to do something like this. And then that jack will set in there, and I'm going to do a bottom plate there, and I'll probably, I don't know, I got to figure the bottom plate out, but I'm just going to do like rib nuts. That way we can bolt it and unbolt it. So putting rib nuts in here instead of you know, just welding that flange to this plate, in case that jack breaks. Of course, it's a cheap jack. I mean, you know, it says heavy duty, 5,000 pounds, but if we have to replace it, this will be the way to go, because otherwise you'd have to cut it off and all that business. But so I just lowered it down. I put this plate in there, lowered it down, traced out the little pattern there, and that'll do the trick. So I'm using the you know, the piece we cut off the end of the oil tank there to get a few pieces cut out for boxing this thing in, and what I'm going to do is cut a hole there to run our axle through for our handle. So I've welded these big giant nuts that so they'll act like you know, a guide. Still too hot to touch, but we got our side plates on. Oh! Side plates on and our front plate, and now we have this. Again, I keep calling it an axle. Right, everything's perfectly aligned. Everything's welded up. Caster, we're just gonna it's a piece of scrap metal. It's pretty thick stuff, but I'm gonna weld this landing gear to that, and then you know, on the other side we can drill some holes for our wheel, so we can, you know, have it both ways. Take off the wheel if you need to replace it or whatever, or if you just want to stand itself, this will just be you know, you can put this. So we got that you know, wheel put on the bar that's fully extended, you know, from the top. So that's where the measurement, I think, is where the when I put this rear axle on, it's gonna be the exact you know, height. Alright, so we got it flipped upside down. For this part, I've got I measured the distance between the two rails here on the back side, and then you know, in the middle. We got that measurement. I think it's 40 across, so it ended up being like 19 and 7/8. So I measured 19, and you know, that was the center line. So I measured from here to here, and like I said, 1978, and that's what we're going to do on this this axle here. We're just going to make 19 and 7/8 out, cut it. Same thing over here, 19 7/8, you know, from this flange here, cut it. So we'll have two cuts, and then we'll put them together, weld them back together, and that should be the one. So I wasn't sure how far those rubber torsion cords come out. They end about here. So I'm about to weld this up. So I got it tacked up, but when it comes to welding an axle together, I wouldn't recommend it. Just, this is not going to be going down a road, so I'm going to weld it myself. But then, and that's the thing, I'm a self-taught welder, so if you're going to weld an axle, you better be sure to, so it's just tacked up now, but make sure you grind your edges at a 45 to create a, so we can fill this groove up with a root, right? We'll fill that with weld, flip it, fill the other side with weld, keep going around, and then after that cools, we'll do a cap, weld a cap weld. And the other thing is, because these have the rubber cores in there, this thing is kind of sealed, so it could get hot in there. So you might want to drill a hole, to let some pressure release, because potentially you could have a problem. I don't think we're going to have a problem here, but I'm just going to go slow. I'll weld it up slow, let it cool. Okay, unfortunately, I lost the video for mounting this axle to the frame that we just had. So it's basically tracing these holes out on the axle, transfer it to the frame rungs, and drilling holes, putting some bolts in. It was kind of easy to do, but I don't have that to show, so we'll just move on to the tongue. All right, so like I said, I want to make two different hitches. One a hitch, and then two something I could pull along where we use the wheel for light duty stuff. The hitch, obviously, we're going to have heavier stuff in it, maybe dirt or whatever. But I'm starting off with these. I got these scrap angle iron there. I blew a hole in there for our axle, and or whatever you want to call it, that pass through. Again, I want to make two things where we could take this thing out, remove the hitch, and then put a bar that flips up and down that we can steer it along with, that kind of thing. All right, so we got this piece on. This is the base. So we can take it off, put it on. I just drilled a hole here. We'll put a pin there. I'll probably weld something on this side, like a handle. So this is the plan. So I got these, they're not going to be this long. I got to trim them. So I just drilled some holes here, 1/2 inch for, I think it's over there, just a 1/2 inch pin, clevis pin or whatever. And I'll cut this out, this little area here. We'll have it like so, right? So this will be welded to the bar we just put on. So we're talking something like this. So again, I had to use a spacer on the back of this, but this is going to go, this little doohickey is going to go, both, this will be welded on the trailer, right? And then we can pass a pin through. So this will be welded here, like so, and then it will be welded here. Alright, so let's hope the heat didn't change anything, because it has to be accurate. It's blazing hot still, so this is a little tricky to get that aligned. I clamped everything together, clamped it. Well, again, it's kind of no tolerance. We'll see what happens here. So this piece goes. Feel the heat. Did change a little. Goes in. It's actually tight. I want it tight actually. Yeah. There's no wiggle there. No wiggle there, so it does fit. Then you cotter pin this, cotter pin that, and of course we have to do our, we still have to do our hitch thing. Not sure what I'm going to do there. I'm probably going to just have two 1.5 inch square tubing coming out with a coupler on the end here. Alright, that came out a little better inspected. So just like I said, these two bars, weld them together, threw some 45s, welded everything up and put it together. Still fits and it's solid. Okay, so I added a coupler to it, and also I put some, I put another bar, 2 bars underneath. It just looked funny with this coupler so deep that I wanted to make it a full 3" by 3" tubing. The reason I went with 3" by 3". This is a 2" ball, is because you know, this trailer is not going to need, you know, it's 5,000 pound rating. Obviously we're not going to put that on there, but my real trailer, if that coupling, I got the same coupling, rusts out or does some, at least I'll have a spare. But anyways, let's paint this up and see what it looks like. Alright, so this pull handle is going to be relatively easy. Run out of scrap. I have to raid the scrap dumpster again. So this is just, I think it's 1.5 inches, whatever it is, angle iron. So I'll nip this off, cut this in half, and we'll have these 2 arms where the pin's going to slide through, and then basically just a bar connecting them. But I want to go over that big mechanism so it goes where you can put it upright and then steer it like that. You'll see. So I was thinking something like this, where we're going to have, you know, this piece here, right, on both sides. And like I said, we'll extend it up with the square tubing and bridge it across here. So it'll be a big U that'll go above this. Here's what we got so far. The rest of this is going to be easy, just to pull in the middle, but so, and then we could pull it with, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm going to add a piece down here so we can use our pin, right? We use our pin for if you want to go upright and lock it in place, and then, you know, steer it like that. So this is what I come up with. Just put a little, you know, so we can secure it, and you know, we can do whatever from this. This is just out of the way, but I want to make a for the lawnmower. So now there's a little see that there's a little handle here. So if we want to pull it along, like I said, this thing rolls really easy. It doesn't take much effort at all, even though it's slightly heavy. This piece here, the reason why it's at an angle there is because it's going to hitch right here about where the garden tractor is, about 8 inches off the ground, so we can tow it around with that too, right? Okay, so from here, obviously we've advanced a little bit, but I was doing 2 or 3 things simultaneously, and apparently I was done one thing and thought the footage was on another card. I don't know where the hell the footage is that I keep losing, but so I'll just explain it right quick. So I decided to make these sides, and well, I just don't have the footage, so I could pick it up from here, I guess. Sorry about that again. Alright, so here's what I come up with. So these 2 sides, I'll explain them in a second, but so the angle iron on the bottom, plus they're plugged in, right? They're pretty stout the way they are. And I plan on adding some plywood here, some pressure treated plywood. It's 2 feet from here to here. So, but these are pretty stout, you know, just as alone, but let's say we you know, put a lot of stuff in there, and you know, they're leaning up against the side. To help remedy that, I came up with this, just putting a couple of riv nuts and let's see if we can zoom in here. So a couple of riv nuts in there. Let me see if I can get that to focus. And they're bolted. I guess let me just show you up close. All right, so if you want to tie the two sides together, it's pretty simple to do. Like, you don't have to take the bolts all the way out, just you know, enough to lift it off and then swing it around, right? And that's what this receiver here is for. Right, tighten it down. Loosen this fella. Take her across and put her in the receiving end. And there we have it. So, all right. So I'm just throwing some paint on these, just to, you know, they are galvanized, the square tubing, but for the welds and stuff, because this thing's going to live outdoors. And red, because I had like 4 cans of red left over from another project, so that's why they're red, plus the hitches and everything detachable is basically red. But anyways, next move here, I'm going to throw some pressure treated plywood on there, right? So I ended up just instead of welding stuff, you know, the caps, these are plastic caps, just to hide the holes in terms of, you know, I'm a little better, not better, but hit or miss on that as far as I want this to be able to leak. You know, you don't want it to fill up with water and swell up. So, but I also didn't like the exposed hole. So having the plastic, I'm sure water will seep out of there if it has to. So I put a little handle on it just in case, you know, you want to pull it along or steer it along or do whatever, but, you know, depending on what you want to do. And the caster, you know, the wheel will turn any which way. So the hitch attachment is for more heavy duty stuff. Oh, and I think I pointed this out, but probably 100 times. So if you wanted to get this out of your way, right, you could pin it here and just have it, you know, so it's out of your way. So if you're trying to maneuver this, you're not going to be like trying to step over stuff or whatever. So, but it's also a dual purpose in terms of, release these pins. Don't really need these pins for display purposes, but it uses the same pin for this. For it needs to be there. This is just to get it out of the way. The hitch, though, this is probably 40 to. It's hard to tell. I would think about 30 pounds, somewhere in there. You know, I'm just trying to. This one's much lighter, maybe 20 to 30. Again, it's hard to tell. So, get this guy out of the way for a sec. So, same pin, same attachments, except put this guy in. Draw it. I'm not going to pin it. Well, actually, I'll show you that because I'm going to drive it around with the. So, like I said, these sides are relatively light. I'm not sure what the weight is, but it's just you know, the wood and the steel. So, and I've got these handles on them. I don't know if you can see that. You know, to make it easier to help balance it to go in, because you're just going to have to balance, or, you know, start one end, second end, and that's the reason why the middle fellas are a little bit shorter, the stubs, because if you're a little off, you see how it's jacked a little bit, then you can use the handles to kind of jock it, if you know what I mean. Same thing with these. Start the first one here, the rear one, and then, like I said, see how it's jacked a little bit, and you can just, you know, do that move. So that works, right? So the other piece is, now you could drive it like down the road like that, but a lot of focus here. So having the cross ties where they're parked here was ideal, because they do flex a little bit. But let me go. I spoke earlier about having like having a slidable axle. I'm also thinking about doing. That's why these are a little longer, because I'm not sure what I want to do a front piece and a rear piece with a tailgate. But for now, I'm done with this project. I just want to show you where it's at so far, in case you're looking for some ideas. I just loosened that end one up, and we have to take this one all the way out, because it's going to go over there. Not all the way out, just through there. And we'll loosen this guy up a little bit. And it's just a matter of walking them around, plugging them in, and it ties it together. And then we'll tighten them all down, because you see how they're a little loosey-goosey, but just tighten them down. It's in the hole. And then we'll do the same thing here. You don't have to crank them down. It's just literally like using pins, but using the rib nuts. It just makes it easier. And now, as you can see, we got a solid trailer. Everything moves. So let's tow that along. See if that see if that thing's going to fall apart right away. It's about almost the same height as my truck, and of course you got an adjustable hitch. You can do whatever you need to, but I'm just going to see if get this wheel up. I don't think I'm going to make it. This thing has a hideous turning radius. Probably not going to make it. Now, let's see. I'm going to pinch this thing. I don't feel nothing. Interesting. Anyways, I think that's going to work. Like I said, you can hook a truck up to it. You can hook I don't know, anything that has a 2-inch ball up to it. All right. Well, anyways, those are some ideas on how to build a homemade trailer out of, well, it's almost all scrap metal. Of course, we use the oil tank, cut that in half, and all the rest of this 1.5 inch by the square tubing, that's all scrap. We built a hitch out of that. The other hitch, I did buy this wheel, or the jack and the wheel, and I think that's it. Oh, the wood. I bought some wood there, but other than that, it's all scrap metal. So I think it came out pretty good. Like I said, just some ideas. Just throwing it out there, man. So anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. So like I said, storing this kind of takes, it's a big footprint, right? But having the rears and the wheel, and you block it, you could flip it up, get a little more space, and that's his brother over there, the one I cut in half. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one. And this is a little heavy in terms of, it's an oil tank plus all the steel we have here. So, but again, it's doable in terms of, like if you block the back of it, it's not that bad, and then whether you want to put something to stop it from going too far, which I got a couple pieces of plastic, so it'll be upright, and it is what it is.